Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today we're flying the Cirrus SR22 out of Fort Myers, Florida, going up to Cedar Key. It's gonna be a 56-minute flight, I think the flight tracker said. Yeah. 57. Okay. 1 minute difference. We're going at 20,000 feet. It's exactly 170 miles, straight line distance. And weather's looking pretty good. Well, climb aboard, let's go flying. So I've never been in or out of Fort Myers here in the sim. But we have flown into Cedar Key once before. Absolutely beautiful airport. But the route today, I'll show you a little bit later though. I think this is going to be a really, really nice route. It's a fairly busy airport down here. Fairly decent size. Hey Andrew, what's going on? We finally got Planet Coaster 2 news. I did see that this morning. Yeah, I'm glad to see something from them. You know, a lot of people were waiting for a long time with basically complete radio silence. And, we're getting really frustrated, but at least this time we've got some news. So I was pleased to see that, and I look forward to seeing what they come up with. Oh, we went too high there. Come on, back down. 20,000. Together we can touch the stars. I know that we will see December. 'Cause when it's all over, the love that you give. Alright, so just initializing a few things here. We turn the battery switches on. Get the weather here on the ground. 090 at 16. Ooh, a little bit breezy. 10 miles visibility. Clear skies. 29 Celsius. And 30.14. That checks out. Looking good. It's about time they shared some details. Free update next month. Yep. And paid DLC in June. Yeah, we'll see what that is that they're going to come up with. Based on the picture, the little teaser, it seems like we may get arcades in the April update, which I think will be actually pretty cool. So, we'll see exactly, though. Our mixture already started full rich. It's not supposed to happen that way. Throttle. Now bump it up just a touch here. Lights are on. Let's go ahead. Clear. I think we're ready to start. Got everything clear left, clear right. This guy will move back. Move forward. Clear! Alright. Engine is started, oil pressure is immediately up into the green. Temperature is rising. We can go ahead and turn the alternators on. Battery amperage is positive now. Turn the avionics on. That light can stay off, that can stay off for now. I kind of think arcades may come in next month's patch. That's what I was thinking as well. That's what I said. Maybe not clearly. But based on the little teaser image, I have a feeling arcades will be coming in the free update. Because I think they did mention... I'd have to go back and look. Yeah, I did mean to say it, if I wasn't clear about it. What plane am I using? This is the Cirrus SR22T. One of my favorite GA airplanes. It's fast. It's actually relatively easy to fly. It's got really good avionics. Technology in the plane. Very comfortable. These things new cost about $1 million. But you can pick used ones up for much less than that. It's still a few $100,000. But a really good plane overall. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna have to mute that audio track though. It's not supposed to play. It's supposed to go straight through my playlist, and YouTube is acting up. Not only that, but they're also taking a long time to load my music. pirate is growling. Arr! It has been a minute since I jumped on Flight Sim. Yeah. Well, I have 24, but I don't have it installed right now. I need to do that. Get set up. Let me take a look at the map here. So we are going to take off, I think this is runway 6. Yeah, so we're going to take off runway 6 since the wind is 090, so straight out of the east. We are parked here, which means we'll turn around on the ramp. Or we could go across the ramp, come down here. We could probably take that first intersection. We'll see. We got a good taxi route. Alright, release the parking brake. Alright, brakes are good. Do we have room to loop? No, not right there. We do have room if we go up this center line right here, I think. Over here by the air traffic tower. We're gonna go right up over here by this vehicle. Well, he's just kind of sitting in the middle of the way. You don't do that. That is a vehicle service road. That's where they're supposed to be sitting, not in the middle of the taxiway. Oh, Flight Sim vehicles. How I love thee. You make it just that much more entertaining. Some taxi chevrons. Just want to check this up ahead. That's a high-speed turn right there. No, it doesn't show a really good turn on the center line right here, but basically what we're going to do is turn right here. Fair bit of traffic. Kind of a neat view when you get to look off the wing and see an aircraft just rolling right down the runway like that. This is a pretty good sized airport. So of course this is the main airport servicing Southwest Florida. The airport is actually called Southwest Florida Regional Airport, I believe. Might be international. But basically the whole Fort Myers area, Venice, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Naples, a lot of those have their own airports and stuff. Here's the ILS critical area. We can go into it since the weather is good. That marking there, you don't see that in a lot of places. You do see it in some, but basically if the weather was bad, we would be instructed to hold short of that to not mess up the navigational signals. That aircraft coming into land. Oh, that's cool. Look at that! Man, I love having the traffic, you know, simulated on this. It's really neat. Alright, we'll set the parking brake right here. And landing light on. Pitot heat doesn't need to be on. Mixture's full, Rich. Let's go flaps half. We'll confirm that in a second. Boost pump is on. Don't need to switch the fuel tank at the moment here. Let's do a quick run up. So we're going to bring the engine up to 25, 26%. Those RPM's right at 1700. That's pretty good. Good drop on the mags. Back to both. Check the left. I'm going to demonstrate something because you always hear me say check the left or right mag, back to both, and then check the other one. What you don't want to do is check between here, because you can't tell if the drop is too significant between them. You can't have too much of a difference, but you also need to make sure that when you engage it, that the RPMs go back up. If they don't, then perhaps you may have a problem with a fouled spark, or perhaps a something not properly grounded. That's also, if you don't get any drop, it's almost certainly a grounding issue. If you get too much of a drop, then you've got something fouled, which you don't want. Everything is good there. Engine instruments are all in the green. We're going to cut the power down to idle. Out of the cockpit real quick. Rudder. Elevator. Ailerons, all free and correct, and the flaps are confirmed at half. Let's just check final approach real quick, make sure there's no... I can't even see it from right here. The great thing about the sim is you get to cheat. No, there's nothing coming in. Runway is clear up ahead. Somebody just took off. Back in here. And all of you, let me know, as long as you can hear me okay, and everything. Did have a quick dropout all of a sudden, for some reason. Alright, let's go ahead and release the parking brake, and just clear that one more time. Yeah, final's good. Out here onto the runway. Airspeed is already alive thanks to the relatively breezy day down here. Full power. Engine instruments are good. Looking for 77 knots. 60. 70. 77 up. There we go. Good. Positive rate of climb. Let's go ahead and bring the flaps up. Fort Myers out that way. The city of Fort Myers. Out that way is right now a bunch of forests. And the airport terminal, of course. Let's come up a little bit. 800, we can go ahead and begin a turn and engage the autopilot. It's 500. Let's begin that turn. Gonna get a really good view here in a minute. Actually a little bit further inland than a lot of other airports down here that we fly in and out of in Florida. Alright, let's engage the autopilot.
Engaging autopilot.
And we're looking good. It's gonna turn us just a little bit more to get us on the GPS track. Right, check up a couple things. Flaps are up, boost pump stays on. We can turn the landing light off. And we will go ahead and reduce to cruise climb power. I'm going to pull back to 80. About 84, 85. We're looking for 30.5 on the manifold pressure. And we'll lean the mixture down to right about 20 gallons per hour. There we are. Right. Cruise climb power and mixture set. And we just get to sit back now. Let's grab a little bit of a look outside here. Alright, so this is the airport that we just took off from. Oh, and there's a baseball stadium. That's cool. Hold on. They have 2 air traffic towers. I don't know which one is the real one. Unless there's like an old one standing that hasn't been demolished or something like that, then I don't know. Well, we started up right about over here on this ramp. And taxied down and took off. Yeah, you get quite a bit of houses and stuff, and then the Everglades actually going to be right down that way. Just a bunch of forests and lakes down here. If you look further south, you're going to see some more kind of towns and stuff. We zoom in a little bit. Naples would be kind of right down over here. And then the actual city of Fort Myers. This is Pagefield. And yeah, so the city of Fort Myers kind of right up over here. North Fort Myers, Cape Coral, I believe. Is it Cape Coral? Yeah. Just all of that is over here. A little bit far away to see right now. But if we were to get a really good view in over here, this is Sanibel Island. And the Sanibel Lighthouse sit right at the end of that. So we're pretty high up, and we're a little bit far out from it, probably 15 to 20 miles. So we're not going to get a really good view of it. But you can see the island. There's actually some really good beaches there. See, all of this is Fort Myers. All of this up here is North Fort Myers. Cape Coral, I believe, is mostly this area here. And a couple bridges up there. I-75 runs right down along all of here. Hey, Fly Robin, how are ya? I got some wobble. Yeah, a little bit of light turbulence. Let's go back into the cockpit. Already up at 7,300 feet. Yeah, little bit bumpy. Not too bad. Pretty typical for hot spring, summer days in Florida. I think as we get higher up, it's not going to be bad, but you can kind of see some clouds forming further up to the north. And I think once we get above that altitude that those clouds are at, it should smooth out a little bit. Let's go ahead and turn the pitot heat on as the temperature's decreasing. Alright, real quick, en route today. Of course, this is the airport we took off from. It's all over here, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, North Fort Myers that I've been pointing out. We're going to be flying up over Punta Gorda. Off to our left will be Venice, Sarasota. We're coming up over the Tampa Bay area. We're going almost directly over Peter O'Knight. Tampa International, flown in and in. I don't think we've flown out, actually, of Tampa. We may have. I don't remember. I know I've been into here a few times. That there, MacDill Air Force Base, yep. And then St. Petersburg and Clearwater off further to the left. We're going up just north over Tampa International. And then we're going to be going over the beautiful Gulf Coast of northern Florida. And Cedar Key actually sits right here at this little, kind of all these islands right here. There's actually not a terrible ton of people that live in this area. More so inland and stuff like that, but not a whole lot along the beaches like you would find over on the Atlantic side or down here, down there, and stuff like that. Should be a pretty flight. We've flown into Cedar Key once before. Absolutely beautiful. It's a pretty remarkable approach and landing going into the airport there. certainly one of the more scenic ones that I remember. I had thought about flying the Citation Longitude today, and I wasn't sure. I may do one later. We'll see. I would like to do PC2 tonight. We'll see though. The temperature's already down to -2 up here at 13,000 and change. And it really has smoothed out considerably. Wow, that is looking pretty. Yeah, you can see the clouds building up ahead. Just checking the map. This is on my second monitor that you all don't see right now. But there's really not, over all the airports that I'm looking at, there's really not too much cloud buildup. A little bit over Sarasota and Tampa. Not bad overall. Here's the tricky thing, is we do not have reporting weather at Cedar Key. Not that I can pull up at least. Looking kind of in just some of the surrounding areas, it does look pretty clear. They do have what we call a SIGMET out. SIGMET stands for Significant Meteorological Conditions. In this case, it's convection, which means buildup of potentially thunderstorms. So I'm hoping we won't get any of that. There's the potential that there might be some. It's not over Cedar Key, but it's just to the north. So we'll see if we do get any of that. I'm hoping we won't. But I have a feeling it could be a little bit of a bumpy ride down. It was a little bit bumpy taking off. Oh, but it really wasn't that bad. I'm wondering that perhaps it could be a little bit worse. Yeah, okay. I'm looking at the map right now. There are some pop-up showers and storms all over northern Florida. So basically, if you draw a line from Cedar Key, I'll pull the map up for this. You go up here, you draw a line from Cedar Key, straight over here, this is Ocala, over here to Daytona Beach. North of that, there's a lot of pop-up showers. There's a few down over here. Not really anything over in this area. It looks to be mostly clear. So we should be okay on our route. If we were to go further north, we could run into some potential weather. But I don't think we're going to have to really worry about that today. I hope. We're coming up to 18,000 feet. We're going to go ahead and set standard pressure here. Minus 10. Wow. There we go. Yeah, we're starting to get just a little bit of bumps again. Take a look off the left. It's right below the wing. So what I'll do is take a look out of the cockpit here. This is Punta Gorda, right here. So we're getting a little closer over toward Venice in this area. And then some more of Punta Gorda. Sarasota is going to be up kind of this way. And then Tampa's further up. We're actually going to fly over that, as I mentioned before. We're not going to fly over Sarasota, but we should get a good view of it, as long as these clouds don't thicken up too much. We pop right back into the cockpit here. We're coming up on 19,000 feet. 1,000 to go, we'll level off, and our speed will pick up considerably. Light wind, we're getting about a 4 to 5 knot tailwind. A little bit of a crosswind, not much. Yeah, just a little bit of bump. Nothing significant at all. As soon as we level off, then we start wobbling a little bit. Yeah, there might be some light turbulence. Actually gonna pull up another map here on my other screen, and we'll take a look what they're saying, the flight conditions today. When we start accelerating, now that we've leveled off, what we're gonna go ahead and do is turn the fuel switch pump off and the fuel selector over to the right tank. Bump that mixture down just a tiny bit. Really get our best power at about 20. We're at about 20.0. And we're looking good there. Start accelerating. This is saying 40 minutes remaining, but as we continue to increase in speed, that is going to go up. So predicting a 56-minute flight. It may be a little bit shorter. Aircraft further north are saying no turbulence, but we're definitely getting a little bit up here. It's not bad. This is light. Got a view of the sun coming down over here. Still got a ways to go before sunset. Probably another hour and 15 minutes, I would say. Not sure of that exactly. Now we've basically reached our cruise speed right up over here. Doing 218 over the ground is actually pretty good. And yeah, about 35 minutes to go, so we'll need to start a descent. I'm only up here at cruise for about 15 to maybe 18 minutes today. We probably could have done this flight at 18,000 and been okay, but yeah, going up to 20, why not? It would not make sense to go higher than that. Hey, Darkhound Doom, how are you? Straight off our left is Venice. And we can't quite see Sarasota yet, but that's going to be a little bit further up. We'll be probably catching a decent view of that here in a few minutes. Then probably another 10 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes or so and we'll be over Tampa Bay. We go out of the cockpit and look behind us. Yeah, Page Field and... No, that's Punta Gorda, I'm sorry. Now Page Field is going to be further back that way. Maybe over there? In Southwest Florida, the airport we took off from. I think that's it back there. And then down over here would be like Naples and stuff. You look out here, you can see the Everglades. Can we see the Atlantic Ocean? Or is that just a layer of haze? I don't know. Yeah, I think that's haze. That'd be kind of cool. I think you might have to be further up to be able to... If you go over, if you're up in Florida and you're flying at, I don't know, probably like 38,000 feet, like you're in a jet or something like that, you can actually see both the Atlantic and the Gulf coastline in the state, which is pretty neat. So Florida's not all that super wide across. More than you might think, but when you're up at those high altitudes, you can definitely see across the state. So most of you have heard me say this before, but I am a real-world private pilot, but I get to fly very rarely. But I did get some really interesting news today, as they actually might be getting a Cirrus SR22 at my local airport to be able to do some flight training. So if that does end up happening and I have the opportunity to do a little training flight in that aircraft, I absolutely go bonkers for that opportunity. So some good practice in the sim, perhaps. It really is a great aircraft. It's loaded with great systems. All the avionics, the technology, and everything. It's got some really good safety features. I love it. I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite planes. And I've always dreamed of flying one in the real world. So here's to hoping perhaps I'll get that opportunity sometime in the not too distant future. But in the meantime, or if that opportunity doesn't arise, I've got Flight Sim. I would like to do a flight in the citation longitude at some point. I'm thinking maybe out west. Flying the jets around Florida is cool. I really like flying around the LA area in California because there are so many different airports and there's just so much to see. Of course, it's a massive area. Alright, if we look off the left, Sarasota and, well, yeah, so Sarasota, the airport is right there, and then the city of Sarasota, and all of this up here is Bradenton, just below the Tampa area. In fact, we can actually see it Tampa Bay right here, and if you look up ahead, that, so Peter O'Knight, cool little airport, is right here, downtown Tampa, right up over here, and that's Tampa International. A little bit of haze building up over here, or it could just be because we're flying right by some clouds. We're gonna get a good view of the city of Tampa, and downtown right up over there. 27 minutes, and easiest way to tell at our halfway point. When you pull this up here, so it tells you how far away you are from each of the airports. So we're not quite halfway. Probably by the point when we fly over Peter O'Knight, I think would be about the halfway point. Maybe just before it. I don't know. I don't know exactly, I should say. That's a pretty good rough ballpark estimate there. Not a whole lot out over there. Yeah, I think actually this might be it right here. You can kind of see Lake Okeechobee. No, I don't think that's it. I think that's further that way. It's a little bit tough to pinpoint. It's not super great visibility. That's not horrible by any means, but it's not quite as crystal clear. Albuquerque to Grand Canyon or Telluride, Colorado. Actually gonna just look at that real quick while we're just kind of cruising around. I really wish the state lines would come up on here. So this is... Yeah, okay, so we're over Texas right now, so San Antonio. Needs a yaw damper? Yeah. We're also on autopilot. It may have something to do, but I thought this plane did have built-in. Alright. So, don't know all these airport identifiers off the top of my head. That's Mexico. So we gotta come up a little bit further here. So the LA area. Phoenix, Prescott, Flagstaff. So here's the Grand Canyon Airport right there, I'm pretty sure. Close out of that, actually. Click the airport. There we go. Okay, yeah, so this is definitely... Yeah, and you can kind of see some of it up here. And yeah, Albuquerque would be right over here, and then Santa Fe. And then if you come up this way, you'd get into Colorado. So there's Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Denver, all the airports up there. Eagle County. Grand Junction over here. This is Aspen. I'm not 100% sure where Telluride is relative to these. Nope, this is up into Wyoming here. Cheyenne. Granby. There it is. Telluride right there. Actually, I don't think that'd be a super long flight from Albuquerque. You could do that in the SR22. Without a doubt. That would be a short flight in the longitude for sure. It's not gonna be a fun flight though, with all the mountains and everything like that. Really beautiful part of the country too. I would actually like to venture out into some of these airports in Colorado and New Mexico, and I've done a couple up in Arizona. That could be kind of fun. Alright, so here we are right down here, coming up over Tampa. So yeah. Oh yeah, take a look at this here. So this is Peter O'Knight. I actually did a flight into there one time. I think it was at night. Dumber and Dumber went to Aspen. Oh, that's funny. Downtown Tampa sits right over here. And there's a stadium right there. I want to say the football stadium for the Buccaneers is over toward the airport, if I'm not mistaken. So this is Tampa International. Yep, there it is. Yeah, take a look at that. That's pretty cool. You can actually see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers football stadium right down there. Yeah, it's just off the approach end of this runway right here. That's pretty cool. You know what else is in Tampa? Look up here over the Temple Terrace area. This is Busch Gardens. All of you fellow roller coaster junkies, right here, great view of Busch Gardens, Tampa. And of course, you're not going to see it as well if you're closer to the ground, but 20,000 feet. But yeah, here you go. Home with some really good roller coasters. You've got Iron Gwazi, Montu, Kumba, Shikra, Cheetah Hunt. Here's kind of the wilderness area. They have all the animals that they take care of and rehabilitate and everything like that. So that's pretty cool. USF actually sits right up here. University of Southern Florida. Oh, Temple Terrace over there. There's an airport yep, right there, I believe, is Tampa Executive. And this is the most glorious highway in not only the state of Florida, but probably most of the country. I-4. I try to avoid I-4 as much as possible, but if you're in this area or Orlando or stuff like that, Central Florida, there's really no avoiding it. So one more real cool. Whoa! One more quick cool view of Busch Gardens. Actually, it's loaded up. You can see it a bit better, so you can definitely see some of the roller coasters all right back over here. And we come back. Downtown Tampa. Tampa International. If you look out over here, this is the bay. And then these bridges actually take you out over to St. Petersburg and Clearwater. There's the Petersburg Clearwater Airport, a commercial airport. It's a good alternative commercial service with airlines and stuff like that if you don't want to go into Tampa. I'm good, just been trying to find my USB flash drive. I had it yesterday and don't know where I put it. Oh! Did you by chance leave it in any of the systems that you were working on? 'Cause I occasionally leave flash drives in computers and forget that I have them there. Especially if they're plugged in the back or in like a hub. Something that you may not regularly see just by glancing at something. 19 minutes to go, so we're actually about to top of descent. Now here's the tricky thing, is we don't have reporting weather at Cedar Key, so I don't know what runway is going to be the best. I would assume that we would land in the direction of the water, the sea breeze. But that's not always a guarantee. In fact, that was not the case down in southwestern Florida today. So not at the airport that we took off at, and not at any of the other ones. We only have visual approach. I think we're going to do the visual 2-3. And let's just load that first, and I want to see how it comes up on the yes, what we would be doing is setting a path up to here, go direct, and then do the turn. Other thing we could do is fly it as it's written, which would add a little bit of time, but that would help us actually see. If we go right over the airport, we could decide what runway to go in on. I don't think that's really going to be necessary. We can take a little bit of a tailwind. Excuse me. It is a pretty short runway though, so we would have to be right on our A game if we do decide to go land with a tailwind. Of course, there's no way to tell since there's not reporting weather, unlike most other places we fly. Hey, Jet 1401, welcome. You got that thing pushed up high. This plane, the SR22, has a service ceiling with the turbocharge. Has a service ceiling of 25,000 feet. It's going to turn us just a little bit, and actually our top of descent is really close. So let's go ahead and drop that altitude down to 2,000. Oh, come on. Yeah, this thing tends to jump all over the place when you scroll it. Alright, so with that set, let's get to that top of descent point. We're just north of Tampa. Kind of Pinellas County. No, that's down here. I think this up here is Pasco County. Crystal River some of those times. No, I didn't even get to plug it in. I had put it aside as it has all my repair tools and Linux distros. Even has a lanyard. So I can see, hoping and not left it in my clothes, because washed bank and bus cards before. Oh, that would suck. I try to avoid that. Alright, starting our descent now. We're going to pull the power back down to about 35% power. Try to keep that speed right about where we're at. That's a good descent rate. Yeah, we don't have to turn the boost pump on yet. We don't have to switch tanks. They're about even. We're looking pretty good. 19,000 feet. Now here is the tricky thing. Since we don't have reporting weather, we don't have an altimeter. So the best thing to do in that case is we can get the altimeter from the closest airport, or we can get it from 2 airports in this vicinity and try to what we call interpolate. So try to go in the middle of them. But that's not always accurate. It's Cross City Airport to the north, about 20 miles up ahead. 30.16. Crystal River is 30.15. So let's say 30.16 would be a safe altimeter setting. This is where it does get a little bit tricky. Yeah, let's go ahead and set that to 30.16. Should be okay. And that's given us a really steep vertical speed just because the altitude is offset a little bit by adjusting the altimeter. So we had about an extra 200 feet to go down. And if we look around outside, it actually has smoothed out a little bit. I say that. Watch it get bumpy again. Oh, this up here in Pasco County, like Crystal River, coming up a little bit further. Beautiful. It's a little bit more swamplands up in this area. Throughout of a lot of the northwestern Florida peninsula. Now I have to clarify that, not say northwest Florida in terms of like the panhandle and stuff, because it is a bit different up there. But one thing that I really like, when you kind of fly up in this area, as the population kind of picks up, so we're looking more at Tampa Bay and Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, all that over there. Lakeland would not be too far out that direction there. I always have a really big fly-in and like a bunch of little air shows throughout the week called Sun and Fun. It's a really cool aviation event. 310 at 4 on the weather side. Oh, thank you. Is it just down on Sky Vector, or maybe it does have reporting weather that's not carrying over? Yeah, let's see what's going on here. No, it does not. So you probably just get the local weather for Cedar Key and it tells you. But knowing that the wind is relatively calm, and it's actually a crosswind because the runway is 523, so 310 at 4 is almost a direct crosswind. And that's good because it's very light. So we don't have to worry too much. Av Weather Center not reporting a guesstimate. You could say, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so we will stick with 2-3. That's a really pretty approach to going into 2-3. I've never flown in on runway 5. Only been into that airport once. Alright, let's go in here and look around 14,000 feet. Just got a little ways to go. Saying about 15 minutes until we land. And we could actually put a little bit more power in to keep our speed up. I'm going to go up to about 40%. Yeah, some thunderstorms nearby as well. I did see that, although it looks to be limited more to the north. It's kind of all like up in this area and stuff, kind of over Gainesville, Lake City, up toward like Jacksonville, and coming over to Tallahassee. But yeah, I've thought of doing a couple flights out in the Rockies. I've actually been watching just a couple flight vlogs. Vlogs. I'm not even sure what the right way to say it is. I'm older than some of you might think. But flight videos, we'll say that. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Citation Max. So he's got a really good channel. He's got some really good videos. Super good guy. And I've seen some of his videos where he's flying out and around in Colorado. He's gone into Aspen, Centennial up in the Denver area. He's a bit in the LA. I think he's based in New York, if I'm not mistaken. But I really like watching the videos where he's out in the mountains and out in the LA area. So we're actually close enough that we can begin to see Cedar Key. It sits right up over here. So we're heading out this way, and then we're going to make a turn and come in and land that direction. Should be a really pretty approach. Flew to Leadville, Colorado years ago in real life airport altitude. Hold on. Airport altitude 9,900 feet. Pattern altitude 10,400. Highest airport in the US. Is it really? I did not know that. Highest airport in the USA. They give you a nice cert when landing. Oh man. That sounds super cool. What kind of plane were you flying? I actually want to go over there and check that out. I don't have a lot of time. I do need to focus on coming into land. But we have a couple minutes, we can look. There's Albuquerque, so let's see here. So Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Denver. It's gonna be over here? Yeah. Yeah, 9928, that's insane. 6,300 feet, yeah, and you can probably only get, like, small. I don't even know if you could get a jet. Maybe a really small jet or something like that, but I'd imagine just because of the altitude. Flew Santa Fe to Leadville in the winter. Yeah, I guess winter would be the time to do that, given you have a lower density altitude, so you get better performance. I really got to do a Colorado flight sometime. And I know we looked at a few of these, but Aspen, Telluride. This must be Alamosa. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and a Cessna 172. Okay. Oh, that's what most of my flight time is in. 172 is a... It seems a little generic, but it really is a... There's the reason that that's the best-selling small aircraft in the world. The most produced. Alright, as we're descending below 10,000 feet, let's check up on a couple things. Our mixture is in the green. As long as we're above the bottom of the green bar there, we can go ahead and switch the fuel tank. We'll turn the boost pump on. Landing light doesn't need to come on just yet. Hang on. Why in the world is that repeating? I don't know why this... Something's going on with my freaking YouTube playlist. It doesn't make much sense. Like, get your act together, come on. Operator error. Gonna bump that power back just a touch. 9 Celsius, and we're descending. We can turn the pitot heat off. Really only need that on in this plane if you're below 5 Celsius. About 41 Fahrenheit ambient temperature. Yeah, Fire Robin, you've really got me inspired to try something out in Colorado. I don't know if I'll do another one tonight. I might. I've got the flying bug. So I'm getting back into it. You fly over mountain passes, updrafts want to push you up, so have to power and trim down. Kept wanting to blow us above 12. Oh boy. Wow. That actually does sound really difficult. That'd be a fun challenge. I would imagine you'd also probably have to be on the lookout for hypoxia just because you're up at such a high altitude. And of course they don't require oxygen until you're above 12,500 feet in a non-pressurized airplane. But over time, flying at high altitudes like that, 10, 12,000 and stuff like that, you can still get the effects of hypoxia if you're not acclimatized, if it's acclimated to such high altitudes. So I'd imagine that would be a concern. Let's bump that power back just a little there. We're just out over the water, but if you look off the right, you can see the shoreline. Really pretty with all the islands and stuff. Out over that way, water. Also a great flight is Utah, Arches Canyon, and Moab is spectacular. I've heard Moab is really pretty. Arches Canyon, I think, would be super cool as well. Yeah, not quite sunset. The sun is getting pretty low. Starting to get a little bit golden. I know one of my viewers always likes when I do a flight coming into land, or even just flying, and you get to see the golden hour with the sun setting. Or rising, I would imagine, would be pretty as well. You get some gorgeous sunsets around here, though. Especially on this side of the state, on the Gulf side. Sunsets over the water. I lived in Daytona Beach, and you got really good sunrises, but the sunsets were really spectacular, but the sun doesn't set over the water there, given it's the Atlantic side. Alright, time to check. Oh gosh, we're zooming out too much there. I wanted to zoom in. Alright, I'm going to give myself a little bit of time here. So what I'm going to do is switch nav off, and we're going to set the heading. And I'm going to branch out this way just to give myself a little bit more room. So heading on, nav automatically shuts off. I can take the altitude down to 1500 for now. Pull that power back at about 35. I want to get the airplane slowed down a bit. I'd like to try to get it below 150 so we can go half flaps. Fly to the Bahamas? Yeah, I've thought of that out of, you know, somewhere like Stewart, which is near Jupiter, north of Palm Beach. You could even go out of Palm Beach or any of those airports over there and fly into like Freeport. Nassau would be a little bit longer of a flight. Yeah, take that in a jet. Alright, we're at 149, so we can actually go ahead and drop half flaps. Mixture's going to go full rich at this time. Boost pump is on. We'll turn the landing light on. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more on the map there. I'm going to come in. Keep VNav off. Actually, we'll go up here. Procedures, activate vector to final. Let me make sure it doesn't activate. Yeah, so heading select is still on. Gonna turn the heading just to set up like a little bit of a modified base. I'm gonna put the power in. I'm not gonna go full flaps till we're on final. I want to make sure we identify the runway first. disengage the autopilot, we'll hand fly the aircraft to the ground here. The good thing is that this diamond right here is a simulated glide slope for our approach. Don't think they have any visual glide slope indicators here at Cedar Creek. Or Cedar Key. We flew through final a little bit. Whoops. Having a tough time picking it out, as a matter of fact. Where is it? Nah, that doesn't help. Alright. Let's get over here on course. We're gonna go full flaps, we're below 110. We're a little off. Is it out here? No, it's right here. I see it now. Okay. Yeah, this is a tricky one. It's a little tough to see. It's a little tough to identify with the surroundings. Oh, a little bit of a bump. Try to pull that power back, get down to about 80 knots. Alright, I've got the runway in sight. We're good. Just kind of angle back. If you look, we're actually getting pushed by the wind to the right as well, so we do have to angle further to the left. Alright, I see the airport beacon. Oh, this is going to be fun. We've got a tailwind. Oh, it's kind of calming down. A little bit low, so let's level off, add the power back in. Just try to keep that speed. Complete it a little bit. Yeah, so a light tailwind. Thinking of round the world flight, there are plans out there, maybe 1 to 2 legs a week. Yeah! That would actually be really cool. And then a part of the challenge would be what kind of aircraft do you want to do it in. Where you're, whoa! Look at the glare. The sun, whoa! Alright, now we get about a 2-knot tailwind. There we go. So our altimeter's a little low. Which means we're actually a tiny bit higher than this says, but of course we had to set it reference, you know, a nearby airport. This is a short runway. I think it's only about 2,500 feet. We can look once we land. But we really got to get this right. So we're going to get the plane slowed. The wind's shifted. Wow. Wow. That is the complete opposite of what we had before. Very pleasant. 23 Celsius is like 73 Fahrenheit here. And we're a little bit low. Try to get that speed. Let's add the power. We're getting a little slow. Yeah, we're low. We don't like it. We can come back around. I think we're okay. Yeah, flying that slow. Slower than you really want to. We got to touch down here. We got to get this right. No, come on. There we go. Alright, brakes. Flaps up. A little bit of a wobble when you hit the brakes. That happens sometimes with this airplane. I don't understand why. Is there a taxiway we can take, or do we turn off? Yeah, because parking would be right over here. There's a little hotel there. Not a great approach, not a bad landing given the circumstances. Alright, there's our marshal. Just gonna angle back here. Tab off the wing. Hit the brakes. Turning sharp. Yes, we're a little angled in. Shut down there. Alright. Parking brake set, we can go ahead and shut the engine off. So just out of curiosity, if I come in here and pull the airport up. Airport elevation 7 feet. Oh, so our altimeter actually was pretty close, I suppose. Okay, 2,300, so it actually is even shorter than I thought it was. Not too much. Alright. Landing light off. Boost pump off. Flaps are confirmed up. Keep those on. We can turn the avionics off. Alternator switches off. Clear the indicators. Mixture idle cut off. Hour and 1 minute. Okay, so that actually was a tad bit longer. Probably because we had to go up past and then kind of circle back in. Engine is stopped. Clear the annunciators. Now we can turn those lights off. Magneto's off. And aircraft is shut down. Come out of the cockpit and grab a beautiful view here at Cedar Key. Yeah, look at that. That is pretty. A little hotel. A little bit of a community back over there. And some other buildings here. I would imagine in FS24 it's even more beautiful. Really have to try that flight. That sim. Alright folks, well welcome to Cedar Key, Florida. Hope you enjoyed the flight. We'll look at doing another one tomorrow, maybe later, I don't know. We'll have to see. But thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely catch me back for more if you did. And as always, until the next one folks, take care. Stay safe. And we'll see ya.